That Farbringen of Purim Tovshin Yud Aleph was a very special Farbringen. Those that were there tell over that the Rebbe took a lot of mashke, and the Rebbe cried. And the Rebbe also later spoke about himself, belittled himself. He said, Mi ani, umo ani, who am I, and what am I? And he said that I am only a tziner, I am only a pipe through which the hashpah, the Frierdiker Rebbe goes, etc., etc. And more in Yonim that he said. But I want to repeat is just one expression that I remember Rabbi Leibel told me that the Rebbe said concerning his accepting the Nesias. And he said, Was geworden von mir? What became of me? A shmate, a trapke. A shmata, I became a shmata. Trapke is a shmata in Russian. Till now, he said, I was able to learn, I was able to daven, but now I don't have the time to learn, I don't have time to daven. What became of me? And he was complaining about this inyan. And Chassidim said to the Rebbe, we don't want to hear such expressions, we don't want to hear such words. And this reminds me that this is really some things that other Rabbeim, previous Rabbeim also said. The Rebbe, in the Farbringen of Yud Gimel Tishrei Tovshin Chav Beis, the Rebbe told the story about the Tzemach Tzedek, that once the Tzemach Tzedek, when he had a long Yechidus, and after Yechidus, his son, the Rebbe Marasha, was then about 12 or 13 years old, came in, and the Tzemach Tzedek complained. And the Tzemach Tzedek said to him, that I'm spending time in Yechidus, what do you want from me? I could have sat and learned at that time. The Rebbe Marash didn't answer anything. The Rebbe Marash just went over to the Shafa of Sforim, to the bookcase, opened up the curtain that covered the bookcase, and he counted how many Bichlach Sidis is there that the Tzemach Tzedek wrote, and he counted about 30. And he turned to his father and he said, if not for having Yechidus, would you be able to write all these Mamorim? And the Tzemach Tzedek said, you are right. And then the Rebbe went on to explain what was the question of the Tzemach Tzedek and what was the answer of the Rebbe Marash, etc., etc. And later the Rebbe was Magiya, this piece of the Sicha, and it came as a Pesach Dover to the Likutei Sicha, to the Likud that came out that week, and later was printed in Likutei Sicha, Chelik Daled, on page 1361. But the same idea that the Tzemach Tzedek complained that because of his Nesias and spending time for others, Yechidus, so he's complaining that he doesn't have time to learn. But then he agreed to the Rebbe Marash that because of that he was able to write all these Mamorim of Chassidus. So this is similar to what the Rebbe complained here, that when he took over the Nesias, what became of him? He doesn't have time to learn, doesn't have time to daven. But the truth is, this is the inyan of a Rebbe, and this gives the highest madregas possible, like the Rebbe Marash answered the Tzemach Tzedek.